I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, I got in touch with Justin because the school that I was working for, OSHA, we put a culinary program there, and we were looking for places that we could bring our students to volunteer, to serve food, make the food, serve the food, and stuff like that. So the short story is I got in touch with Justin and told him we would like to do Thanksgiving for the Salvation Army. And he was very much part of that. So we started doing it, and then we did Christmas, and then we did Easter. And it was great for the kids. They were all very eager to be a part and to help out, and good for me to feel good about helping out. And hopefully it was good for the people that ate.
So, obviously.
Yeah, but that's how it started. That's how my relationship with him started. And then when COVID hit, we had stayed in touch. When COVID hit, he had asked me if I would help feed this shelter and the shelter in Anaheim, just short period of time. And so I said yes. So we did that for a couple of months, and then he asked if we would consider doing it on a full-time basis. So I had some staff because of COVID that wasn't working.
That's right.
Right.
This is like one of the only places that stayed open.
I know. So I was able to give them work so they didn't lose their jobs, and we came on board. And then this June ended 2 years, and we signed another 2-year contract.
Wow.
So that's kind of the short story of how it happened. So what we do is we're in constant communication with the staff, the Salvation Army staff from the top down, and the residents. We get feedback from the residents. We organize meetings with them throughout the year to get their feedback. We do surveys. So the communication has been really good because it was a learning curve for me. And basically what I do is run the whole operation. We cook the food, everything's from scratch completely. Our tomato sauce is made from plum tomatoes, garlic, onions, fresh basil. Our meatloaf, we grind our own meat. Everything pretty much is from scratch, so that's the way we do things. And then I take care of the business end too. I take care of the accounting, I take care of the payroll, I take care of the ordering, the inventories, all that. I have a staff of 5 people. And we, initially, it was a little difficult because I was trying to give them what I thought they wanted, the residents. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to learn the culture and embrace the idea that it's not what I want to give them, it's what they want. So I'm like, you sure you want that? You know, because I could give you this. But, you know, it's still a work in progress. Yeah. But I think that we're doing, together as a team, the Salvation Army, my staff, I think we're doing okay. I opened hotels for all around the country, and then I started my own consulting business. And we did, for 10 years, we did worldwide consulting, most of it all abroad in Europe and South Africa, Australia. And then OSHA got in touch with me and asked if I would consider helping them put a culinary conservatory in the school. So a friend of mine and myself took that upon us. We opened it, and I was there for 8 years. I continued to consult, but we put that program in place, and it's thriving. Anybody that knows me knows that when I stopped working or retired, whatever, I wanted to do something like this. My ideal was to go into an orphanage and work with kids, you know, teaching them and feeding them and, you know, just that kind of stuff. And I really wanted to do that. This is very close to that, but just a little bit different. So it's something I always wanted to do. So when Justin approached me, I thought it would be a really good fit. I think the challenges are non-ending. I think there's always going to be challenges. For me, the biggest thing for me was the culture. I've worked most of my life in 5-star hotels. You cannot screw up. You cannot make a mistake. Everything has to be perfect all the time. There's usually a good line of communication, and everybody's kind of in the same boat. Everybody's OCD. So that was very different because I stepped into this culture and it wasn't like that. And
The polar opposite.
it was the polar opposite. But there's so many good people here that we've been able to work together, and they help me understand what I need to understand. And I tried to bring a little bit more maybe organization and organization. Yeah. So it worked out. It's been working out really good. It was a culture shock for me, but they embraced what I was trying to do, and they put up with me. And we all of us have kind of learned together. And so I think I'm hoping it's a good situation. It's different. It's very different. I mean, you can't even compare the two, but you're still trying to please a group of people, whether it's, kings and queens or it's residents at the AS. It still needs to be achieved. So I think that some of the things we do, we make our own meatloaf, lasagna. We do hamburgers and hot dogs. We do different varieties of baked macaroni and cheese, with all different proteins and stuff in it. We do all kinds of stuff. So we have a cycle menu, a 2-week cycle menu, but we deviate from them depending on what we hear. Peter, we're tired of this. Can you do this? And if I hear from one person, I listen, but I don't put too much credence in it. But then when I start hearing it from a few people, then we make a change. So it's constantly changing. We're constantly trying to get feedback from them, constructive feedback. And we have these meetings. And initially, when we had these meetings with the residents, it was very, all she got was a negative. And I just,
Right.
I'm sitting there,
I need some positive feedback.
Yeah. So I said, enough with the negative. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you like. I don't care what you don't like. Tell me what you do like, and let's focus on that. And they kind of got it. And so the meetings have been more constructive, a lot more constructive. So we were making different kinds of pasta for them, and then they had said they're tired of pasta, so we said, okay, what you're tired of that, but what do you want, So they came back with good ideas and constructive stuff, and we were able to, after the first meeting, within 7 days, we were able to put everything in place that they asked for. Different stuff for breakfast, additional stuff for breakfast and lunches, different sandwiches. So we were able to effect that change within 7 to 10 days. And that showed them that we were serious about listening to them and wanting to give them what they want. So that took some pressure off.
Right.
When they realized that we do care. When I went to college, part of my degree was in nutrition. So I have tried to explain through these various meetings that it's not only what you guys want, but it's my responsibility to give you guys a balanced meal every day. So I have that background and I know how to do it. You guys just have to, embrace it. You know what I mean? I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm trying to shape it around what you want, but it still needs to be nutritional and it needs to be 3 good meals every day. So I feel good about that. I know that they're getting a balanced meal. My boy Keith Campbell is great. He knows what we need. He's always asking what we need, and he tries when he goes to these different stores to pick things up to get what we need instead of ancillary things that we can't use. So he's great. Really a great guy and a great part of the team. He's like family. So he helps us. He actually comes more than twice a week, but 2 days a week is really when we get the bulk of the stuff that we can use. And then, yes, I purchase the rest of the food through my budget. And yes, prices have, in some cases, doubled. but we, with the donations that we get, it really helps out. I make deliveries in the AM and the PM just so I can see both and interact with the staff. They see me. They've been the staff at the Salvation Army. Sometimes it's there's a little bit of turnover, so it's constantly training. But they do a great job of communicating with me. Several of them have my phone number, so they'll text me if they're running short on something. We supply all their paper goods and everything too, coffee, all that kind of stuff. So if they have an unusual amount of people coming in one week and they start running out of plates, they text me and say, Peter, can you bring some more plates tomorrow, that kind of thing. So it really works out. It works out pretty good. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but on either end, but they really do a good job. They really try and help out. There was, I'll tell you a real quick story. There was a woman who was in a wheelchair, and the very first meeting we had with the residents, there was about 40 residents there, and it was, I just felt like I was getting bombarded, but it was cool. And she complained about everything. And I finally turned around to her and I said, look, I said, again, all you're doing is complaining. You're not helping out the situation. What do you want? What do you like? Give me something positive to work off. And she gave me some things, and everybody saw that I was writing things down. I wasn't going in here and out there. And about 3 weeks later, she wasn't real nice, But about 3 weeks later, she was waiting outside the dining hall when I got there about 6 o'clock in the morning to deliver breakfast. And she said, can I talk to you? And I said, no, not really. I said, I have things to do. And she goes, please. And I said, okay. So I went over and I started talking to her. And she said, I just want to thank you and your staff for everything that you've done. You've given us everything we've asked for. You kept your word. We know where your head's at now. We know you're trying to help us, and we can work together and this like that. And I just I sent an email to the higher ups at the Salvation Army, letting them know that the residents are appreciating things and they're recognizing it and they're being very courteous. So that was I won't forget that. That was because I thought she was going to give me another half an hour of whatever, but she went out of her way to make sure she was there when I got there early in the morning. That was very nice. Well, there's my friend Larry, who is there waiting every morning when I get there, and he sits down, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, but once in a while I bring him like a bag of cookies or something like that, and we just talk about things. He tells me what's going on with his life. He's working on getting out of the shelter. I haven't seen him for a week, so I don't know if he's still there, but he's working on getting his own place, and I bring him clothes once in a while from time to time, and help him out a little here and there. And he's always got a big smile and very nice. And a lot of the residents, when I back in with my truck, they're always asking if they can help out. Peter, can I help you bring the stuff inside? They're always grabbing stuff, and so it's gotten to be a little more than just delivering food. After being in operation here for 1 year, I got COVID really bad. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and they told my wife and my family that I'm not coming out of the hospital, that I'm very, very sick. My blood oxygen dropped from 97 to 52. And I was sick and didn't know it. I didn't really have any symptoms. I was in pretty good shape, so the doctor said, because you were in good shape, you were able to pull through, he said. But I didn't really have any of the obvious symptoms that a lot of the other people had, so I kept working. So it stayed in my system until one day I went into the hospital, and they hooked me up to everything right away. So it affected my pulmonary system for a couple of weeks before I actually went into the hospital. But having said that, that was tough for me, but my staff rallied. And then, this one got sick and that one got sick, and I ended up coming back The doctors wanted me to stay out another 2 months, and I ended up coming back on oxygen. I had an oxygen tank because a couple of my other staff members needed a break. They needed to rest. You know what I mean? So that was tough for all of us, because it really takes a toll on your body. You know, you lose all your strength. You don't have, your respiratory is gone, and so that was difficult. But coming back from that, has been great. I mean, it's great to see the residents aren't sick anymore. It's hopefully we're not sick anymore. As far as product goes, some prices have doubled. Some have come down. Some have stayed there. Availability has been a problem every week. We can't get certain items and stuff like that, but that's getting better also. So I'd say that, it was a scary, very scary time. I don't get scared easy, but it was scared being in that environment, around all those people. And I wore a mask. I still do when I go over there. But they really tried hard to get the residents to, wear masks and do the right thing. So they really made a big effort, the Salvation Army. So, and we're all around today to talk about it. So,
Blessed be God. Right.
Absolutely. Well, I was raised Catholic. I go in a church, and I believe in God. And I sometimes pray to Him in a formal setting, and sometimes not. But I'm always talking to Him. And I think that, I think this all kind of happened for a reason. And the fact that I was able to come out of the hospital was huge. I don't know if my wife would agree with that, but no, I'm just kidding. I wanted to do this type of thing all my life. I thought when I retired, I would be able to give back. And so this is enabling me to do that in a different light, but really the same kind of cause. We do a special holiday menu, a traditional Thanksgiving menu at Thanksgiving. At Christmas time, we do what some people consider a traditional, again, based on the feedback from the residents. Do you like turkey? Do you want turkey on Thanksgiving, or would you rather have something else? They want turkey. But and then Easter, 4th of July. And then we just, throughout the year, just to keep things interesting, we do different things from time to time. Well, we would like to continue improving and getting better and better. The surveys that we've experienced have gotten dramatically better from day one, incredibly more positive. I would like to keep that going and keep it going in a positive direction. And I would like to, when I'm done, I would like to be able to hand off to somebody else. Probably not the same situation because they're building a shelter at the AES, but they're talking about doing a culinary program and teaching the residents and stuff like that. So maybe I can be a part of that or pass on something.
Well, that would be great.
We just try and do the best we can, and if you're doing the best you can always improve, but it's kind of a good thing. Like we crack all our eggs here, fresh. We crack our eggs every day for, when we serve eggs for breakfast and stuff like that. So it can't get any better than that. It's not powdered eggs or stuff like that. So that's what we try and do. We try and do the best we can. Quality. So quality comes in many different ways, but what we're putting out now is quality. What I put out when I worked in a 5-star hotel is a different kind of quality, a different step. But both, you want to do the best that you can. You want to be the best you can. And you want to please people. That's always been my philosophy. One of my staff, she injured her back years ago, and I could tell that she's, that it's bothering her. So I gave her 10 days off, and just I'm covering her shifts for her, and she does the same thing for me. We all do that. So we help each other out. We know when the others need help. And yeah, it's more like a family than a team. Well, it's a team, but more like a family than staff,
Understood.
Yeah. They love the meatloaf. They love lasagna. We do sauce and chip peppers. They really like that. They kind of like everyday chicken parmesan. They like that. Yeah, everything. We get pans back pretty much empty all the time. I mean, everything goes. And I always make more than, they get seconds, I would like them to remember us that we really gave it our best. And we definitely had them in our heads and in our hearts, for sure. That would mean a lot to me. And I wanted to get back to one thing you were asking me about faith. I was in Italy last month, and mostly in Tuscany and Rome, but there's churches on every corner. Every church we went into, we lit a candle. Every single church. For this place, a candle for my family, it was really cool. It really meant a lot, like, something good was gonna come out of it.
Has something good come out of it? Or is it too early to tell?
Yeah, I think every day something good happens. We lit a lot of candles.
That could be like a book,
Yeah. I've been doing it for years. My wife too. We her mom, my mom and father, and my family, we just sit there for a little bit, think about all of them, light a candle, and light a candle for some people here, and yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome.
Feels good. Well, we had a group of people here that was staying here for a while in addition to the AES. So I got to know the ones here a lot better because they're always banging on the door asking for something. No, they're, several of them would sweep around the area, trim the trees, just always asking me if I needed anything, that kind of stuff. And we got to be friends, and it gave me a new perspective. I mean, there's people that are homeless for different reasons. Some has to do with money, some has to do with drugs, some has to do with mental health. So, sometimes you're driving down the street and you see a homeless person, twirling around the middle of the street, going crazy, and that's one aspect. Sometimes you see a family with a couple of kids and they're very pleasant, very courteous. They're just down on their luck, So there's different. To me, I've gotten to realize that there's different levels, and each one of them needs to be treated in a different way. You have to have patience. You have to have understanding for. You can't just get angry, or you can't just say, "Oh, you're crazy, get out of here." I'm not giving you $1. Whatever. But one thing that really impresses me is how smart they are. Most of them, they find ways to take things and put them together and make stuff out of them, and like a place to sleep for the evening out of stuff they found, down the street or in the back alley or something. How they rally together. They get together and they know each other and they laugh and they high five and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've seen a lot. I think they're very resourceful. I'm very grateful for Justin and Renee, and some of the other people that work for the Salvation Army that have had patience with me and helped through communication guide us through this process and work together. We work together. I think we work together pretty well, and so I'm grateful for that, and I'm just every day, thankful that I can help out.